Warning, this is a taboo topic and a lot of people can be offended, triggered, or just like angry for nothing because they don't have a life. Anyway, if the hat doesn't fit, if you don't like this content, please be the mature person and press X and just move on with your life. Greetings, my friends. Today we're going to talk about my friend's Anonymous, his experience of shapeshifting. Just the person agreed, so don't worry about this. So, to put you in context, my friend tried to physically transform into the animal that this person is as a soul. And yes, it's possible, and I will talk about all of this later. Go see my other videos about physical shapeshifting. So this person tried to physical transform, and this is the experience the person had, and I think it's very enriching, and I will review it at the end and answer to the post and explain and help this person. So stay tuned until the end.
Read my description, but if you didn't or can't, I just want to let you know I haven't even reached the barrier or the sneeze yet. As in, the physical shift starts happening. And I'm not going to lie, the first time it was completely out of the blue. Me and my friends on my amino were talking about this guided meditation, and my friend posted about it, which is gone now, and it was a peace shift guided meditation made by Silver Black. The fact that my friend somehow found this is unknown, but either way. So after stewing on it, I decided to try it. After all, what harm could it do? I've tried peace shifting before, and I only got warmth pulsing from my heart, down through the rest of my body, that's it. So didn't think too much of it, plugged my earphones into the offline recording I made, and man. When I say that, I mean that I did not expect how it would go. I remember listening, and focusing, and my body fall really cold, but not shivering. Like my body temperature was just dropping, and note that my room was a comfortable temperature, not like the temperature that you actually start to get cold in if you are exposed to it too long. And I remember just trying to ignore it, and continuing to listen. I have this issue with the meditation LOL, not a critique at all, but I found it too fast for my liking, so it was hard to get into the flow of shifting and fully visualize. My best guess is to turn on the video and mute the vocals so I can follow it to my liking, or edit it to my liking. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Back to it. I continued to listen, and I finally got to the part where Silver is talking about how the shift will happen now, and I vividly remember my middle finger twitching hard, to the point where it almost touched my palm, and I went spiraling into a sort of excited panic. I don't want to sound weird, or cringy, but I'm just going to use the words that come to mind, although they might sound worse than they are. Please do not freak out over what I'm going to explain. I have no sort of health conditions that would have caused this or put me at risk. And yes, I am okay now. I started to really shake, and twitching a lot, and my mind started to freak out, because I was thinking to myself that I would finally be shifting, finally. My dream of almost 3 years now, almost in my hands. I basically was seeing flashing behind my eyelids, and continued to twitch. I was a tiny cell within my body, and my body felt like it was this huge, gelatinous blob that I was within. Based on what I felt, in the very back of my mind, I thought I was having a seizure, but I could just feel I could stop it if I wanted to, like the violent shaking was created by me, and could be stopped by me. It kept going for a while, and I finally remembered that I had a necklace on that was tight enough that I couldn't get over my head. I was also aware of the clothes I was wearing, and realized that I was just thinking about my safety within my form. Like my mind was sort of separated from my body. I could freely think without affecting the shift, but I was also vividly aware of it. I don't know. Eventually, it became such a concern that I might choke on a necklace that literally said Puma that I stopped the shift. I got up, feeling incredibly heavy and like I had slept for eons, and stumbled around, my legs super weak. Found some scissors, couldn't use my hands right, and cut the necklace off. I just remember being so disappointed that my own efforts to feel more animal-like just caused me to be separated from my animal self. Plus from this experience, besides these results, I didn't understand much, and I could only hypothesize very little. I didn't even know what would happen if I just left it. What would happen if I just kept going? And I honestly think that the shaking might be an adrenaline response. It's the only thing I can think of as of now. And I was really just focusing more on why I got such results, and only when I did the guided meditation. I didn't even think of these results, or wanted them to happen as such, and yet they did. All I knew is that I haven't fully shifted yet, and I had to return to it. I don't know if it was like a gut feeling, or something else, but I refocused my efforts to mental shifting to feel like maybe I knew what I was doing. And this was only the first experience. I remember that I was honestly afraid of doing it again, and didn't want to touch it, because I was afraid that I was going to get hurt, or even cause a shift, and I didn't even know if I was going to be let down, or be forced to rely on this meditation to peace shift. I was afraid, and also trying to focus on my mental shifting. Plus, it doesn't help that I didn't understand what was going on, so after having time to think, and having more of a critical mindset to it, I decided to approach it again, almost a month later. And, I guess I was more aware of what to do. No jewelry, definitely no clothes, just my underthings. Because most underthings can stretch and bend. I was also worried about them like, being in my body when I shifted, so I was still hesitant to shifting again. This time, when I tried again, it was similar results, except so much earlier. Like, Silver hadn't even started talking about shifting, and I would feel the shift starting. I started to repress it, but I just kind of gave up and tuned into my body, and listened for any sort of cues, and internally also struggled to keep a good balance to start to shift. I honestly think meditation like these are good catalysts to awakening yourself to your power in shifting, but I need to personally teach myself not to rely on the meditation to shift. Like instead of learning how to walk, you always will crawl because it's easier, and has results faster. And I noticed a lot more about this shift. First of all, it felt more controlled, but just as violent. As in, even though I was scared in the beginning, I could predict what was going on, and it was easier to move in from that step without spiraling off. No violent flashes at least. Second of all, the tremors came from my chest, or my heart. Like my heart was causing the shift to happen, and it would go down my body as usual. Third, I noticed that for as long as I went, for which knows how long, I wasn't paying attention. I was only stuck doing this for a while, before it wore off, and really it was triggered again every time I attempted a mental shift, or attempted to hold a cougar's mindset within my mind. But I did also observe that the longer I held out, the more it just seemed like shivers, nothing else. I really feel like I'm missing something when I do this. I first thought it was because I wasn't done mental shifting, but really, now I'm just curious on what causes a shift to happen, and you start to change into your animal. Because as far as I went, there was no buildup of energy, no sneeze or barrier. It just felt like I was getting physical results, but no changes. Like I was missing something vital that would cause it. And of course, now that I wrote that out, I will be worrying that I'm possibly not a shifter now, and after years of shape-shifting, and ultimately worried that this physical shifting, either will be an experience sort of thing, where I have much more growth to deal with before I shift, or I simply am unable to physically shift. As I said in the beginning of my post, most shifts in the past were comforting, slow, warm, with no sort of drop in body temperature. My main goal now is to see what happens if I mix doing it without help, and approaching it with what I know. I'm also curious to see what would happen if I flared while doing this physical shift, like most people recommend, and held this flare? Would I shift? Yeah, so any advice, help, or experiences would be so helpful. Sorry for not posting often, or at all really here. I try to save my posts for ones that are experiences or...
So this person tried to physically transform, but the person tried to do this method without having This is the kind of method that you do when there's no favorable conditions to physically transform around, because when you can indeed physically transform on your own without any method, with the blackout method, but this blackout method usually requires a few conditions, and these conditions are first that your body is being very, very relaxed. And when I say relaxed, I do not mean this casual little meditation you do before going to sleep. When I'm saying relaxed here, it means you need to be very, very relaxed, in the sense that your body is so relaxed that your soul will be easily popping out of your body in the astral projection that comes just right before the physical transformation. In order to do that, if you have, for example, anxiety or problem focusing for meditation, you can spend the whole day doing physical exercise, like going outside, doing outside sports until you're exhausted. The other condition is finding a way to release your humanity, your human mask, your human mind, to M-shift very strongly, but also more like losing your humanity and letting go, like letting loose of your human consciousness and letting the animal take all over and feeling like yourself 100% and very, very relaxed at that moment. You need to feel that you accept yourself and love yourself in also the animal ways, not just the human ways. You have to embrace all of it. The day I physically shifted, it was at night, and when I blacked out, so it was easier for me because I did these physical exercises and a lot of sport of that day. Then I went to do a fire camp with humans, which made me feel very dysphoric, specie dysphoria. And strangely, it really helped that day. Anyway, we did the fire camp and we drank a little bit of alcohol, not too much. I don't drink a lot. I don't drink like generally in life, so. And I was very relaxed and my mind could let go, and I was doing this fire camp over a lake in winter, right into the forest, under almost a full moon. But the full moon is not necessary. The moon can be any phases. It doesn't really affect you in the sense that it's gonna force you to do a shapeshift, or it is like a requirement, because it's not. Scientists do not know why, but the moon has this very mysterious energy field that affects all beings, like living, even objects and all, and the waves and everything. But it's there, and I personally believe that this could be a kind of magic that really affects wolves for I don't know what reason. It can affect other animals as well, but the moon has its influence, its power, it's, I don't know how to say that, it's very soothing and it makes me feel really wolfish. So the moon, the fire camp, the alcohol, and we were eating like meat, so lots of proteins for the DNA process. Is really important to get some kind of proteins. It can be vegan or not, doesn't matter, but meat helps when you're a predator kin type. You don't have to eat meat though, it's just like your personal choice. And when you go to sleep, try to like sit half laid down, and if it happens you might fall asleep very, 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 very quickly, which happened to me. So my body, I kind of was lucky that night because my body popped out. Sorry, not my body, my soul popped out of the body, so it was like an OBA. And while I was doing this OB, my body transformed because it was relaxed enough to do so. So I had this very, very scary session where I was my wolf and I was scared by a ghost and everything. So I kind of just like went out the window and went away to come back in the night to put all back of my clothes and going back to sleep to try to forget what I just went through, because werewolves can do that. They can erase the not erase the memory, but like store the memory into a place where a human consciousness cannot access it. Like there's a lot of dreams that we do that are stored in that into that subconscious, not aware part of the brain. Like we cannot access it without very deep meditation and a lot of will. So you might forget your first P shift. Anyway, I had like all the conditions without really knowing what I was doing, and all these conditions just came at the same time. Like I went to that place to visit my cousin, and there was a lot of nature. It was very wild. I was obsessed. I really wanted to go there. I didn't know why yet, but it became like a depression. It was that hard of a pull. I heard the call of the nature. I felt the call of the nature very strongly, and that's why I went there, because I used to do a lot of mental and physical practice, but there was something missing. I didn't know what that thing missing was, and it was these conditions: to be in a safe place, in nature, relaxing, feeling like myself, and then trying to do it in the sleep. It's very easier. You might feel it, you might remember it, but mostly, like most people don't remember their first shift, or like it takes time for them to remember. They need hints. If you ever wake up in the morning and find fewer paw prints, saliva, claw marks on the wall, destroyed stuff, even outside, like inside, outside, anything that can give you a hint. If you try to record yourself, the wolf or the animal inside you will just erase that part of the camera and try to erase your memory with it, because the animal inside is like careful and knows that it's dangerous to do this stuff, so it will not allow you to do so until it trusts you. Trust is important between you and yourself. It's kind of weird to say that, but your animal side is a part of you, but it's not entirely. It's kind of more independent than you thought. And when you physically shift, it has its mind of its own, in a way, but it's still you. That makes sense. And once you learn to master physical shifting and trying to be aware and remember the physical shift, until there you will have like blanks of memories and stuff like that. But once you're aware, you can control and be you 100% and remember all of it. It takes time though. It can take a year or so. Also, don't worry about the injuries or stuff like that, because once you start to P shift, your body is going to lock. So if you're scared during the phase that you're still human in your mind, or just like trying to reach the barrier, you will just not P shift. It's just gonna stop, or it's just gonna stay in the mental shift way, or the M shift, the flare state of mind. So you have to be like not scared and totally relaxed. This is why sport really helps. If you want to stay awake enough, try to eat something with sugar and stuff that's gonna keep you awake, but still relax. So no caffeine, nothing of the sort. Something stimulating, just enough for you to stay awake, but not too much to be like not able to sleep and relax and get anxiety, whatever. The signs that you P shifted during the night are the hints I talked about earlier. But there's also this warm, fuzzy feeling that you feel like warm and like you slept for days, and you will not even have soreness from the sport you did like the day before, and you're gonna feel new, like you slept the whole week, and you're all warm and fuzzy, and you feel very, very like your animal self, and you feel in peace with it. And it's a strange feeling. You might find dirt in your nails or scratches that are not supposed to be there. You will just know. It's just a weird feeling, you know. It's like an odd feeling of something weird happened, but it's so vague, and you're gonna be like, did it really happen? But it's gonna feel like a dream, but more real, and you're gonna know something's off. Like your awareness, your consciousness will tell you, hey, something weird happened. Try to just like click and stay open-minded to it, and try to remember and try to learn from it. So that's about it. So I've had this incident of my dragon friend who tried to transform, and he transformed, and his face got like half stuck, not like completely shifted, but it didn't hurt him apparently, and he did not had any injuries from it. So I don't think it's dangerous. Like, it could happen, I guess, because it did, but I didn't hear about any pain or injuries from that person, so you're safe. I trust this person to 2000%. So one last thing, animals are kind of careful by nature, so they will not try to shift or p-shift in an environment that will be dangerous to you in any way. And like, the only exception I found is when you're stuck where you are, and you know there's like a wooden place not far away, and it's kind of safe to go at night because you have a way to go there. And you're probably gonna find a way to go there, but be careful not to get stuck in the town in a place you cannot go out and panic. And you know, I think the worst that could happen is that you get shot, like by tranquilizers, if it ever happens, and you're being brought back to some kind of sanctuary or zoo or something. Or even released back in nature, far away from where you are. So be careful, okay? And the worst case scenario is death, of course, but if you go into a wood where you know there's nobody, and make sure that there's a safe place, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna know if the place is safe or not. So try to use your judgment and be careful, okay? But usually your animal will not p-shift and go outside if it knows it's not safe, so don't worry about this part. You will feel the pull to go out, but if it doesn't feel safe for you, if it doesn't feel comfortable, even if your animal side is gonna push you to try to go outside, just don't. Lock your doors, lock your windows, just be there. If you don't feel safe about like going outside the first time and you know it, just lock all the stuff around and try to take away all objects around where you're gonna p-shift to not break anything, because most animals love to chew and destroy stuff, especially wolves. So yeah, and make sure there is no pets you can reach while doing it as well. Big clothes, no piercings. If you have any kind of metal in your body, like added metal for I don't know, medical reasons, just don't shift, okay? Braces, same thing. Be careful. Use your judgment, okay? You can use really big necklaces, like use huge charms, huge necklaces, huge ropes, so when you transform into the animal, it will fit your animal size. So one last thing is, if you don't have all of these conditions or in the safe environments into your household or whatever, you can still practice mental shifting and physical shifting, even with the method I will share a bit later this month. You can actually like build up the energy of the shift while doing all of these sessions, and do it as much as possible. If you can do it daily, do it. And the more you will give energy and effort into both mental and physical shift, or any type of shift that really suits you, it will help for the physical shift. Basically, physical shifting is like mind over matter, biokinesis. It's the belief that it's not like scientifically proven, but I truly believe in it. I believe physical shifting starts from the mind and the emotions and the soul itself. Like when your soul feels different than your body, you can somehow trick your mind and build up the right energy and the right DNA or something. It makes like your mind, you have to trick your brain into conditioning yourself to be the animal. So the brain thinks you're not in the right body, and it changes to just like adjust, if you know what I mean. The brain is adaptable, it can adjust. And we all have this DNA these DNA brands, but no one really knows what is that mysterious force that holds the cells together. Scientists don't know, and that's where people go, oh, it's God, or it's the creators, blah blah blah, but no one really knows what that mysterious force is. It's just like energy force, mysterious, that, you know, it's this force that decides if the water is liquid or if something is solid, how the matter holds together, will vibrate. And all we know is that the DNA and the cells, the atoms of your body, are holding together with like electricity and light, and we don't know exactly what this energy is. So you can play with that. And I know from an experience that scientists did, that your feelings can affect your cells, your real, like your DNA directly. This was a real experience, and they've put like a person, and they took a sample of their DNA, I don't know, some kind of cells from his body, maybe like dead skin or whatever, and they've put it into another room. And what happened is, when the person changed their emotions, that same brand of DNA would change, would react, but at the same time, with no delay. So you could be at the other side of the world and your DNA brand will still react the same at the same time. So what does that tell you about you and your body? Your feelings affect your very DNA. And your brain is like your tool, your master tool to take your intention and emotions, and like all this is like the mastermind. Your brain is like the master operative mind that will make it all work. But technically your soul is already an animal. It already knows how to physically shift. It just needs to remember and build up the energy, the necessary energy for the physical shift to happen. This is all so fucking magical. It cannot be explained, in my opinion, in any other way. We tried microbiology, we tried so many ways to explain this, and the only theory that makes sense to me is that, yes, emotions and the mind, they affect the very DNA, especially the emotions, and that the mind can like have the power over matter at some point. So yeah, if everything goes well, you know, you're not scared, your body is just gonna lock and it's gonna happen. If you have these conditions, shifting conditions that I talked about earlier, the relaxation and all of this stuff, just keep that in mind. If you don't have these conditions, you can still practice until you have these conditions around the right environment, the right relaxed mind, etc., etc. And once you find all of that, you're gonna be fine to physically shift. You're gonna feel the pull, the call of nature just before it happens. It's gonna be so strong, and when you're gonna be there, when you're gonna be in the place that your animal side wants you to be, it can be at home, it can be anywhere, it can be in another place, it can be anywhere. You're gonna know, you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm home. There's something special about this place. It makes my animal side comes more. It makes me want to shift. It makes me feel like myself. I don't even have to make any efforts, and you're gonna feel so oddly 100% yourself, more than you've ever been. And you'll know just by these little hints and symptoms. So good luck, my friend, and I hope this experience helped a lot of people too. And listen to me, I know how crazy the belief of physical shifting is to most people, because they say, oh, it's impossible. Is it impossible? Scientists recently discovered in Antarctica a structure that was made of like atoms, and these atoms, with some kind of technology, could be rewired into becoming any kind of matter and shape. So is it really in your mind? Is it really not possible? What if the brain is like your computer and you can indeed use that natural technology to rewire, change your very DNA, at least temporarily? Because of course we all have like a main form, and it will always try to go back to that human form because it's natural for the body. because it was born that way. It doesn't mean that you cannot temporarily change that, at least temporarily. All I have to say is stay open-minded, even if you're a therian and do not agree with physical shifting. There's so many things that people did not discover yet, and there are so many theories and hints that indeed push myself to believe that physical transformation would be indeed possible. I've studied physical shifting for around 20 years of my life, and this is the best conclusion I can do yet. I really believe there's some mysterious force that holds the matter and our cells and our atoms together. But that force can also be used. Like it can be tempered with the help of your emotions and brain, your little computer inside. You can code, if you prefer, you can code these DNA brands to shape however the fuck you want. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's my personal belief, and I don't want you to think that I'm trying to convince you, because I really don't care if you believe or not. It's really your choice. It's really not a problem for me, because I know personally I've experienced it, and I know for myself that it's real. For other people, I will not make that choice. And what I say to other people who don't believe, I just say, hey, could you die like one day and just like not regret that you didn't even try to stay open-minded and just even try to P-shift to see if it works for you? And to like truly desire it and want to try it 100%? Did you even try it before saying it's not possible? Or is it just your ego talking? Yeah. I don't know. But if you really want this, I'm telling you, this is real. At least it was for me. And if you really want to do it, you can as well. Just make sure that you follow the steps and being very careful to inform yourself properly before doing anything that could injure you or worse. Because yeah, it's a scary path and it's not for everyone. So I really suggest you to take your time and to inform yourself before doing anything. So have a wonderful day for the other people, and I really hope this video helped. If you have any questions, please leave some comments. I'm always open-minded to answer any comments or question there is. Have a wonderful week, my friend. Also, this channel accepts all kind of respectful opinions, because the community does not accept unrespectful opinions, so these will be banned. All I ask is that you use your judgment when writing an opinion, so it's gonna be like constructive and not, not a bad comment that will just like hurt people or provoke people for nothing. If it can be a positive or negative comment, as long as it's constructive and helps people or bring some kind of like relevant point into the debate. Okay, so if you're being disrespectful or if you're just a troll, your comment's going to be erased and you're going to be blocked. So do not do something like that, okay? Bye bye. And thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe, like and share.